Well, welcome everybody. Hope we're all doing good. We are returning now to... I don't think I actually moused over. Oh, technically we're still in the Hidden City. God, I hate this map. The way that it magnets around and stuff. Technically we're still in the Hidden City, but we are now in the very back areas on our way to the barracks. And Unuratu's prison cell. We had a lot of collecting and picking up items. Now, if you actually look at the room we were in last time, we found how many items in this just chamber a second ago? 1, 2, 3, 4. A cache, a relic. Guess what? There was still more items around. As you can see, a treasure chest, 2 more relics there. That room is just absolutely stuffed. I think it was right around this area of the game. When I very first played this, it was like just after this platforming sequence we're about to do. These guards won't let us go past. That I really fell out of love with Shadow of the Tomb Raider because of this experience of walking 2 steps and then doing a bunch of relics. Now, this has been quite a joy, actually, on this LP, going a bit slower, you know, a bit a day, a bit a day, a bit a day. I think I've been able to take it at a better pace and sort of sink into it and enjoy it a lot more. But when this first came out, I must have done, you know, it must have been like day 2 at this point, maybe, or day 3. And it was just so much, so quick, and I was so, like, lost in, like, all the terms and things going on that, yeah, I sort of thought, man, where's the gameplay? It's just collecting stuff. Oh, God, ow, poor Lara, they're really cracking her head there. So yeah, I don't know, that might be quite interesting to you guys. I have a very different perspective right now, though, funnily enough. And, this is also kind of weird. I spent a lot of time on Steam over this like last little while, you know, doing the trading card thing, crafting badges, stuff like that. Sorting out what my favorite games are, and categorizing my library. So I have like favorite games, and then I have. This is quite nice, by the way. It's very rare. Oh, come on, Lara, job! I was holding space. Categorizing what my favorite games are, and then like I have a category for great games but not my favorite, and then great games I haven't played, unfinished games. Anyway, I spent a lot of time. Do you know what I noticed while doing that? I think yesterday I have obviously the Tomb Raider games on there. I have all the Tomb Raider games, funnily enough. A bunch of them I've never even played on Steam, you know, like the classics. I have them on Steam, but I've never played them on Steam. Let's make sure we do this jump properly this time. I've noticed, looking at my playtime... Oh, God, see, that felt awkward.
That was close.
Yeah, because of the game's jank, that was close, wasn't it, Lara? I like how this bit of rock below us, it feels like we could scramble on or something. Right, what I have noticed is I've now played more Shadow of the Tomb Raider than Tomb Raider 2013. And I've only ever played the reboot trilogy on PC, ever. So I have something like 60 hours, I think it is, in Tomb Raider 2013. Oh, I think we're going to hang here, by the way. I don't think there's a jump we're going to do. I think we're going to hang, go right down near the water. This is a cool, very cool bit. I think I've got something like 60 hours in that. And we just passed that in Shadow. That's because I've done so many playthroughs in anticipation of doing something on YouTube. But it's weird because I still feel like I've hardly touched this game compared to 2013. I feel like, you know, I've had this big, like, is nourishing the right experience, you know. Oh, what? What are you talking about with that first game? But we've already played, in my lifetime, I've spent more time with Shadow already. Oh my God, no, we're not all the way back at the start. We've just done the swing. I've said, but as far as Rise, though, I've not played more Rise yet. Rise is still a few hours ahead. So yeah, I don't know. That's just always one of those weird things, you know. I feel like, you know, there's that saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder. People always think of that in terms of space. These guys muttering about Kukulkan. But I think it's definitely true about time, too. I think when it comes to nostalgia and remembering old games and memories of old experiences and stuff. Wow, he got so loud there, didn't he? I think it's true that, like, the more time passes, the more you, like, forget specific details and you sort of the idea of what you've done in your past grows in your mind. Like, so in actual real world terms, I didn't spend that long with 2013. Yeah, I remember it is this bigger thing than it was, you know? And I'm sure that's true for so many old games and things that I've played in the past. And it's kind of cool, actually, now that we're in sort of a world where stuff's tracked very, very tightly. Like, I'm sure I've got loads of old PlayStation 1 games that I played as a kid, and I imagine myself to have sat there for hours and hours and hours, but in truth, just tiny little moments. What is that? Oh, I think that monolith is high up on a bridge, and we'll get that out. We haven't missed anything in the platform in the sequence. So let's see, what's this say? The winged serpent.
Here's Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. The Aztecs worshipped him as a force of nature, responsible for the wind and the rain. In his most wrathful tempers, these natural phenomena became extreme, acting to cleanse the earth and sky. Through that, he also became associated with justice and with mercy. According to one legend, he had misbehaved with his sister, and to atone for his shame, he set himself on fire. Then, his ashes rose into the sky, and he became a god of light as well.
This is really fascinating to me, right? Because, like, this game is all about Kukulkan, who we know... I mean, the one bit of trivia we know about Kukulkan is that it's kind of the Mayan edition of Quetzalcoatl, or as Lara said, Quetzalcoatl, right? We know that they're basically the same gods, just through different mythologies or whatever, different eras, different periods of time. And here it is, finally being talked about. This is the god that in Western popular culture of today, we all know so much more about. And yet, I mean, it's just a tiny little relic, just being referenced a bit here. I mean, it's not even a relic, really. It's one of these things, like statues that we can interact with, that as far as I can make out, don't really even change very much visually each time you find one. And then yeah, here we go. So, yeah, I would love to actually speak to a Paititian and ask them the difference between those two, because I'm sure in their worldview they have a very distinct and clear idea between the two, you know, because they have all of these gods sort of at once, if you will. Well, not all of them, but presumably those two, since we've interacted. There's a lot about Kukulkan, and we're interacting there with a thing about Quetzalcoatl. But mind you, it is in a bit of a weird place of the town, so maybe people don't go there much. We get another one here. This is the bit, I think it was this corridor where you just run forward, press E, run forward, press E. This was the bit that disheartened me. So, we're tier 3 now. This is a memorial of the ferryman.
May the rivers of the afterlife be calm, and Utaranku's boat sturdy to ferry us across them.
Oh, I just had a thought here as well. There's a comment that I really wanted to show off. I'm pretty sure I screenshotted it before. Let me just have a look here. I really hope I screenshotted it. If I didn't, I'm gonna have to go. I didn't. All right, hold on 1 second here, guys. 1 second. Hopefully this doesn't become a black screen or anything. Thankfully, YouTube has a very robust comment search system, so we should be able to find it pretty easily here. Search. I mean, it's related to something we said on the previous part, and it is just so cool. I've actually already responded before. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing good. I haven't even really introed the day or what's going on right now. It's Christmas Eve. So as I said, I did want to get a couple of videos in on Christmas, around the Christmas period. I am actually busy today, and I'll be away for huge... There's the sound of my ShareX. We'll get the comment up in a second. I'll be away for a huge amount of it. We're kind of early in the morning. It's about 10. Well, it's not really that early. We're in the morning. Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock, and so this episode will be a bit shorter because I don't actually have that much time. That's kind of why I've got a bit of a hustle on, a bit of a rush here, because I want to get forwards. But yeah, Christmas has been going okay so far. I got all my wrapping and stuff done. I've got this thing where every year I buy more wrapping paper, or let me rephrase that. I buy wrapping paper, And then only to discover when I go to wrap things that all this, a bunch of stuff from the previous year is still sitting around. So it like builds and builds and builds. So I've got a bunch of gifts that I'm giving out this year, and they all have unique wrapping paper, every single one. I know some people hate that. They'll like color coordinate every present and every tag and every ribbon. I just go a bit mental with it, really, and I just put everything on.
I can barely see the bottom. Hope there is a bottom.
Well, no, that's fine. We've seen worse pits than that, Lara, throughout this adventure. I also kind of want to climb up, you know. That little fleck of gold makes me almost think that there's going to be a tomb or something nearby. But yeah, so, you know, I had an alright night. I did even more Christmas movies. I think there's 3 that I haven't even talked about now. The earliest isn't really a movie. A friend of mine linked me this old Channel 4 UK production called The Snowman, which I mustn't have seen since I was like 6 or 7 or something. It's about this little kid. It's a silent movie with a lovely soundtrack about a little kid who wakes up. He lives on like a farm, rural England. He makes a snowman, goes to bed that night, and he dreams that...
This cavern must have been carved by an underground river.
It's so inappropriate for us to talk about snowmen at this point of the game. And then it comes alive and he flies around with it. Very short, but that was one Christmassy thing that was recommended. And that was interesting because it's so old. I haven't seen that for so many years. It's like 40 years old now. You know, it's something that's been around my whole life and more. It's very, like, UK. And I really am very happy to have seen it again as an adult. But it's so odd, you know, I didn't even really have any nostalgia for it. It's not like I was filled with emotion watching or anything. I was just like, oh, I vaguely recognize this. I vaguely remember it. You know, I feel like I saw that too early to even form a real connection, you know. Just sort of certain images came up and I thought, oh, I sort of remember this. Thank God we don't need more gear for this, by the way. I thought this was going to be a rope ascender barrier or something. So anyway, I saw that. That's not really a movie. I've seen The Grinch Stole Christmas. I've seen... Oh, God, I watched a terrible movie on Netflix last night. Terrible. It's like trending top 7 in the UK. Some American film about a woman. It's made in 2022. So I was like, okay, I'll watch a new Christmas movie. Why not? Tried to watch it with people in Discord. Everyone hated it, and rightly so. It's about some American rich woman that gets amnesia and gets a new lease on life and realizes she's spoiled, basically. And it was awful, terribly acted, low budget, crap film, awful script. And the worst thing was, it was filled with a bunch of British people, like buffoons, caricatures of
kind of carving up there
of the British. It's one of these stupid movies that's like selling high fashion and high wealth lifestyles. It was terrible, a real regret. And then finally, the best movie of the lot that I saw, like I had to cleanse my palate from that, was Klaus, an animated film about a postman that essentially helps to establish Santa Claus's like whole enterprise, and it's really good. And I only kind of had one eye on it, to be honest. It was while I was wrapping gifts that I was watching it, but you could just kind of feel that it's a really good movie, and I have to go back to it and watch it more closely next time. But yeah, that was the real standout, and that's not even new. I'd just never seen it before. It's got the vibe of one of those movies that's overlooked because it's not from, you know, a big budget animation studio. It's not Disney. It's as far as I can tell, it's not DreamWorks. It's not Disney or whatever. I mean, it was on Netflix, which essentially means it's not a big brand at this point. As Netflix slowly withers and dies. I don't know where to go, guys. This is fascinating, isn't it? This is the first time this mechanic stumped me. Hold on, what if we drop on a rope from here and then swing? There we go. It's pretty good, right? I'm sure I've missed a relic here, by the way, because this is definitely one of those places where I feel like I picked a ton up. We've also probably missed a treasure chest, an adventurer's backpack treasure map type situation as well somewhere.
There must be something behind.
Oh, sorry, I'm just pausing here so I can get my software back up. There we go.
That's not good.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah, we flood the area back there. And doesn't that mean I can swim back and do something now? See, I usually love stuff like this. My favourite platforming is against rising water. Let's go in and see. Oh, wow, that glint there. It's almost like there's gold on the surface of the water. There's not, though. Right, let's swim along. I think I remember on my first time ever playing this game. I mean, this is weird, swimming through a crack like this. I remember being compelled to turn around and swim and look up for new air pockets that I can enter to get me a relic. But I remember thinking, rather than thinking, oh, that's a really exciting new thing we can do, I remember just thinking that it was tedious and that I kind of wanted to get the game over with. I did very distinctly remember feeling that. And I also remember... I mean, it feels so little and easy now. We're only on part 11. I mean, Christ. But I remember being here and imagining this Let's Play. Back in 2018, I remember being here, remembering this Let's Play, and thinking to myself, Christ, that's going to be a long playthrough, and that's going to be a long and tedious playthrough. I remember that's what my opinion was of it. And I think it was around here I was deciding I'm not doing this game. I'm not doing it. And it sounds pathetic, really, thinking back on that, because honestly, it's not that bad, is it at all? It's not bad at all yet. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it's been quite cozy and nice. Well, we can climb up, but surely this is just where we were already. I mean, there is a tomb entrance. I mean, obviously I've not talked about it. Oh, well, it says crypt. Crypts are short. Maybe we can squeeze one in. Okay, I didn't do that with the camera. The game did that with the camera. So, pretty bizarre. Let's see this crypt here. How long have we been going? Oh, yeah, we've only been going quarter of an hour. That's fine. Oh, is that the last condor egg nest for the challenge? No, I guess we're out of range. Huh. Well, hold on. I'm going to turn that on. Oh, what? We're in the crypt. Oh, do you know what? That makes... that makes sense, because this is actually an action sequence. Do you know what, guys? I've accidentally ended up in a side area, I guess. That would also explain why there's the mystery of the rising water, because it feels a bit random, doesn't it? Let's dive down. But that must give us access to a new area, you know? It must give us something. Well, there's gold in the wall that we definitely couldn't have got without there being water. So I guess I did this crypt on my first playthrough. Crypts obviously they're not the same as the tombs. So I must have done this on my first, because I very much remember this. That whole story I just gave you, I've definitely been here before. Unless there's another cave coming up that feels almost identical. Alright, down we go. Possibly the exact one where there's all the relics and things. Okay, let's go down here, I guess. I don't know. It feels like maybe there's one high up or something. We'll know. We'll know when we get a treasure pack and all the stuff gets highlighted, and I will just come back and cut through it. Right, yeah, so this comment. Okay, so in the last part, we were talking about, let's get a little bit of air here. We were talking about the artifacts that Lopez left around, and we found a rosary, a Roman Catholic rosary with 6 decades or whatever, instead of the traditional 5, Lara said. And I saw that and I thought, well, this is really bizarre. I don't really know anything about this. I'm not familiar with the traditional 5 even, so I wonder what Wiki says. I wonder what Wiki says about the 6. Maybe, you know, there's some cool... Maybe it's another one of those things where the game teaches you something you read about, and it's like, wow, that's a really cool history lesson. I'm really glad I heard that. This is weird. So are we going to climb out of this by grappling that? No? Hold on. What? Wait, hold on. How? But we didn't explore that room. Oh god, why is it so blurry as well? Did you guys see this? Maybe this is why this sticks out in my memory. How am I supposed to get out of the water? No, I shouldn't have dived in. I guess I shouldn't have dived in. Hold on though. Wait. We might be lucky enough. Oh god, please. I've really risked it here. I've really risked it. We might be lucky enough that it saved, auto-saved with us up there. There is an auto-save. I mean, there has to be another way up and around then, somewhere in that flooded corridor. I mean, there has to be. But if we're lucky, it's auto-saved me up on the ledge, and we can just explore the room. I mean, I turned around for completionist's sake. Maybe this is why it sticks out of my memory. Oh, no, we're in the water again. We're in the water. As we enter the room... Oh, God, see, and I'm definitely doing something the devs never wanted, because there is this weird visual, there is this weird blurriness going on. What if we swim along here? I mean, no. I mean, this is where the game gets a bit weird. There are tight cracks that Lara can swim through. They've established that. But now that kind of comes back to bite us in the arse, because we're going to start looking at any number of random walls and tight cracks that actually have nothing to do with anything. Let's assume that corridor up there is a total dead end, okay? Let's assume that it's a total dead end. Not that. It's not even that. Up there. There is no ledge I can get on. They're all too high. I mean, the only maybe... I mean, this is clearly not it. This is just where the water came out. Let's try one more time. I'm going to swim right up to this. Oh my god, it does work! Oh, look at that. That's me being diligent there. Okay. Maybe the devs do expect me to do this, I guess. Oh my god. Look, guys, the first two times I did that, I was mashing E, expecting, I guess, her to magnet to it to a certain degree. But no, I had to be right up against that. Oh, that's good. That would have saved me an annoyance 1 episode or 2 down the line where I say, oh, by the way, guys, had to come back. There we go. We just got to chill and not panic. We're going to get locked in. Because we're going to open that. All right, let's finish this story. So, you know, and I was talking about, you know, the mythology of the rosary, blah, 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 or whatever. Well, we did get a response. I literally said out loud, does anyone know it? I doubt it, I said, but does anyone actually know anything about this? And instantly, first day... So, check this out. This is from Michael. It says, I was once... I mean, how cool is this, first of all? I was once studying to be a Catholic priest, so I might be as much an expert as you'll find. I mean, Jesus, yeah! It's been a while, but here's what I remember. A, the rosary is worn in some cultures. In the US, it's mostly a Latin American thing. It's more of just a prayer tracker these days. B, I don't think many people say the rosary diligently. So, what is it? I've seen it in movies, I think, right? People hold it, don't they? And you see them, like, muttering. I guess you're supposed to say the prayer. Most Catholics just clock in for an hour. I like that phrase. Clock in for an hour each Sunday. They're most often prayed by regular folk as a part of the pre-funeral memorial service. I'm not sure when that started, but there is frequently a prayer service at the funeral home where this is said and people can say goodbye. So wait, do people clock in only at funerals or every week? Catholic funerals themselves don't have much time for walking up to the casket to say your goodbyes, so it's done the night before. I mean, that's interesting. I think I've only ever been to funerals relating to what, the Church of England, I guess? Which, by the way, I learned a bit about the other day. I thought that it was Protestant all this time here, the Church of England in this country. I really did, because I thought the whole point it was that it was essentially invented by Henry VIII so he could divorce people, right? That's really what I thought it was. But no, the Church of England, I think it's like somewhere the halfway point between Catholicism and Protestantism. I think, anyway. God, I'm so out of my depth on this. I'm alright being out of my depth, though. I really don't. On this topic, I'm fine with it. See, the mysteries correspond... So this was the bit I was really curious about on Wiki. The mysteries correspond to different parts of Jesus' life. The joyful are 5 events from his childhood. The sorrowful are from the time just before his death. And glorious are when he comes back. So New Testament stuff. So it's kind of a way to meditatively pray with all the repetition of prayers while giving an overview of his life. See, I didn't even really think about the fact that some prayers are repetitive. I mean, I guess they all are, right? Like, they're things you learn and repeat. So it's almost like a mantra type thing, you know? It's very, like, is tantric the right word? D, they're called decades, the same word we're using to talk about years. They're literally called decades because there are 10 beads in each interval after the first little set with a cross. I see, okay. Base 10, decade. I've never heard... Wait. There are 10 beads. Oh, I see. So it goes 10 beads and then a prayer. 10 beads and then a prayer. So hold on. If we go in game and we look at it, will we be able to count 10 beads? Let's do that real quick. That'll be quite cool, won't it? Oh, I mean, for me, it'll be quite cool.
This rosary has 6 decades instead of the usual 5. A very ornate example of the brigantine version. There appears to be an engraving.
So it is the same thing. Why does Camilla pronounce it differently? Okay, anyway, look. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Who would have thought we'd be doing this? Okay, yeah, it's 5, and then a little bead, and then 5, and then a prayer. And then 5, and then the link, or the clasp, or whatever. And then a prayer. Well, there you go. So look at that. We're learning something. Finally, as well, E. I've never heard of a brigantine rosary, but much of the Catholic traditions that aren't pagan in origin have Jewish roots, which include a lot of numerology. I can imagine the 6 replacing the 5 could mean something, but modern Catholics don't even know any numerology. You'd have to study the specific history to learn that, which I haven't. Now, that's cool as well. You've just sort of introduced me to a whole other tree there. So that is awesome, right? That's one of my favourite comments all time. I hope that enlightens. It does. And I feel really bad now, okay, because here's a guy who was studying, okay, to be a priest, probably a man of the faith. And in the last part, I'm pretty sure I was quite openly just saying, oh yeah, it's all nonsense. In my opinion, it's all nonsense. Let me rephrase that. I do feel bad about that now. You never know who's listening, right? Or in what subtle way you're insulting someone. So I am sorry about that. But yeah, that's really lovely. Okay, here's the end of the crypt. God, I've made a real mountain out of this, haven't I? Jesus Christ. All we had to do was collect this and then go. This is a place where I'm getting punished for my desire to explore a bit more. There you go, Chamaka's war vest. The ancient wolf leather. This ancient wolf leather once belonged to another person of renown. So there you go, there's the crypt. A crypt that we went into and I didn't even realise. Oh, there you go. Look, there are 4 crypts in Paititi and a challenge to do all of them. Now that's I don't know, what do we think about that challenge? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to do all those anyway because they mean content. That's almost like that challenge doesn't exist in a way, right? Because it's just doubling up. Cool, see, look, we're nearly half an hour in now. Somehow this video length has doubled in the time it took me to swim back through this corridor. I mean, that is just all the things we talked about in the first 15 minutes. And now we're here. This is going to be so weird. This is going to be such a short episode that my coffee is still going to be really hot by the time we have to say goodbye. So let's at least try to get into some of the action sequences here. This is a short but sweet, fast-paced action sequence. Fun, and then, you know, I would like to get to the next story beat. Obviously, the goal is for us to get to Unuratu. I won't spoil whether that actually happens or not. And I'm sure by me saying that now, that's put in all of your minds the thought that it won't. Because why else would I hold something obvious off from you? Well, we'll see, won't we? Ooh. Oh, but lots of people in the live chat saying Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you guys. I don't know whether it's really appropriate to say it on Christmas Eve. I know for some people it's just another day, right? Usually when it falls on the work week, you know, you just be working through that day. Nicely this year, it's all on a weekend, so everyone is off. It's basically the perfect time for a Christmas this time, because it is falling on Sunday, so you get the Saturday before. But then also, this isn't backtracking, I think. I think this is us going forwards. This isn't the thing that was collapsing, no. But then also, there's a lot of countries, right, in Eastern Europe. Well, not even Eastern Europe, just slightly more east of the UK, which is pretty much everywhere, where, like, all the gift giving happens on New Year's Eve, right? Like, New Year's Eve almost is the day. I mean, as far as people who celebrate not for any real religious reasons, they don't go to mass, they don't do any of that stuff. It's literally just to drink some booze and give some gifts and meet some family, okay? You know, maybe Christmas Eve is the day, right? Also, I'm pretty sure Boxing Day isn't really even seen by Americans, is
Just
it?
crossed the river, almost at the prison. There are guards everywhere.
We're heading towards the river. Get back to you when we're there.
Okay.
It's always good to hear from Jonah. Sort of get that flash of understanding that you are indeed going the right way, that we are on the main storyline. I'm pretty sure we're about to assassinate some fools. This is a nice bit of platforming, really, because it's a gorgeous environment. I haven't really looked at the water enough, but it is a deadly cool environment. I kind of want to drop Lara into it there to show what the animation would be like, but we're at the end of it now. And it is combining like all the stuff we've learned. There's a lot of rope stuff and overhanging climbs and so on. So we go, enter Unuratu's prison cell through the window from an angle no one would expect. Hello. There you go, see? I was checking you. It does happen.
The box is not in Paititi.
I know.
We overheard.
I will be forced to join Amaru. Everything I fought for since Heidi's death will be lost.
I won't let that happen. Come on, let's go.
We're out of time.
How? He doesn't have the box either.
If the sun is not recharged, or the world we made, all of us will be destroyed.
Oh, right, yeah, the
Find another
apocalypse.
clue. Maybe. The tattoos on your arm, the heron and the eclipse, the same symbols were found engraved on the altar where the box was taken.
What?
What do the symbols mean?
This one shows my destiny. The crimson fire of Yaaxil. And this one grounds my past. It symbolizes Chimchichica, the last true emperor of Paititi.
Who that DLC is about? Oh, no, that's the last one.
Can you take me there?
They're all over that tomb. If there's anything there, they would no doubt have found it already.
Amaru doesn't have this clue. He doesn't know what to look for.
I don't understand, though. If he's been in the room and found the box, he knows about the heron and the eclipse. This is a real wild hunch here. I'm not sure I'm fully following what's going on in Lara's head. And that could totally be on me, not the game.
Guards.
We'll find our way around them.
It'll be dangerous.
I'm sure.
I like her expression there.
Then there's no time to waste.
It's kind of, it was very confident, almost like cheeky.
Safe. He helped me find you. He should be with Uchu now.
So yeah, I don't know. Has Lara got anything in her diary or whatever about the heron and the eclipse? Also, who else was sure that, since she said shark shell on one arm, also crimson fire, right? So she says shark shell on one side. Who else thought it was going to be Ixchel on the other, grounding her past? But no, now, so remember, the DLC is about the first emperor, and this guy is the last. But in what way is this all relevant? A report on Paititi's ruling family.
The ruling family is displaced, reduced to nothing but a figurehead while we truly control the city. The reason for allowing them to remain in position of seeming power is twofold. It allows us to focus on our search for the silver box, and it acts as a pacifier for the locals who are recalcitrant to any type of change.
Love that word. See it so rarely, recalcitrant. Do you know another word I really love? Like, really love. And I didn't realise I did until I saw it in The Grinch. Avarice. What a great word. I love the word avarice. Anyway, who wrote this? Surely not Dominguez himself. Maybe the people immediately before him during the abduction, shall we say. I mean, what's your guys' take on that? Do you think that Dominguez was abducted from the city? Taken against his will and forced to love the outside world? Oh, right, okay, so yeah, this is the actual entrance. I was standing there just expecting her to open it. But remember, we are in jail. So we can use our handy pick here to break through. I'd love another new pick at this point. I mean, they are only cosmetic, so I'd happily toggle between them. And there's a weird thing about this one, looks a bit primitive and old, you know, and a bit, like,
Jonah,
ineffectual.
I'm with Unuratu.
Oh, good. Edsley wants to talk to her.
Mother, we're sending backup. Should I support Uchu or use the distraction to seize territory?
You're in charge while we're separated, Edsley. Trust your instincts.
This is interesting with her going along that way and us going along this way. Also, it's quite rare you see another character using a zip line, right? Yeah, we're on the other side of the door now. I love that thing there with Itzley. She's just very comfortable letting her son do his thing, even in very dangerous situations. You know, if he's in charge, he's in charge, and doesn't matter how young he is or whatever. See, they might have a different culture and impression of the capabilities of youth anyway, right? Hello, sir. There's the assassination that I was thinking of. Honestly, I thought we were going to open the video with that stealth kill. Genuinely. And look, we get to see her perform one over there. It's so good, right? Some plants. Is that another bug there? We can always get these. I mean, it's weird. I am quite relentlessly crafting. I mean, I think we're full up now. We're full on ammo types and we're full on... Those are definitely doors that open. I'm sure they are. Our actual bug inventory. Or maybe not. Maybe we can still grab one or two. See, that little jump there where we just see it's quite far off in the environment, but you sort of know you can make the jump with the various moves you've got. I really like that. I wish the game was full of more jumps like that. I was actually reading last night on the Patient Gamers subreddit, which is a bit hit or miss. Sometimes the review and critique on there can be a bit snooty. I don't know how best to describe it. A little bit overly wordy, a little bit too descriptive, a little bit too sort of smell your own fartsy, right? The idea is there's a community of people who wait a while before they buy games, either for budgetary reasons or so that like they don't get caught up in hype and stuff. And also it's just people who will review even old games, you know, old PSX games and stuff. It is pretty good. It's a bit hit or miss. I think the people in there act a bit like how I act. And I hate the way I act a lot of the time. You know, I have a review of Fallout 76 that I wrote, like, what, 2 years ago now, maybe, when I was playing it. And I got back to reading it, like, a couple of months ago, and I hated it. It sounded so snobby. The language was so, like, jargon. It was horrible. I hated it. I sounded like the most, like, fake, trying to sound like an intellectual, like, nonsense kind of person. I hated it. And I, like, edited a bunch of it to make it sound a bit more normal, so to speak. Anyway, people type like that on Patient Gamers. And I don't like me in those ways, and I kind of see that a bit there. Anyway, someone was reviewing Tomb Raider 1 on there last night. Literally, the Tomb Raider 1 from the classic era. And they were talking about the atmosphere and the ambience and what exploration was like and what's been lost as as gaming has moved on and different things are emphasized and focused on. All the kind of stuff we talk about a lot, and it was really cool.
We should hurry to the upper district.
You lead.
It was nice to see so many people at the end of 2022 discussing that stuff and in a really cool way. I mean, I almost just want to wholesale lift a bunch of their talking points, to be honest.
It's almost like a creel.
Okay, so we still can't decipher this. Yucatec. What is our Yucatec understanding right now? 75%. We're proficient. We have 75%. And we still can't do it. See, I think if we'd been 100% up to now, we would have got that. We probably could be fluent. These are interesting phrases they've picked as well, aren't they, for describing our competency. Proficient and fluent. I wonder what the top tier one's called. Because I don't know on any playthrough I've actually got all the way up to max level on these. I wouldn't be surprised if when we get it, you see an achievement ding. Hello. Here you go.
Unuratu!
Sounds like she's winning. They play it a bit fast and loose with how the doors work there, don't they? I mean, what is the idea? Take this key. So I think that allows us to
I want to show you something.
I think that allows us to open those doors when we see them now.
Eclipse is coming. Once it is here, the box must be opened. Temptation of the box is so powerful, it will pull me toward it and tempt me with a fantasy, an easy way to solve our problems. But it will only show me my strongest, most secret desires. I have prepared my whole life to resist it. Amaru has not yet seen the box, but already its power corrupts his mind. Paititi is its people and can only survive by our will together.
So, if Amaru remakes Paititi his way, it's like he destroys it.
Yes. We face many threats from the outside, but risk is a part of life. We must confront it to remain true to ourselves.
How do you know you'll be able to resist the power once you have it?
I don't. But if my training fails me, the Crimson Fire will guide me and hold me to my promise. We should go.
Okay, all right. I really don't want to keep pausing, but there is so much. Before she talks, okay, she's going to say it was the Crimson Fire. You guys might, if you really want to get into this game, you might want to rewatch that cutscene. I know it sounds like a big ask or whatever, but try to remember everything they say there, because we're in a weird place with the story right now where I think the player is supposed to kind of be wondering what is metaphor, what is literal, what is prophecy, what is magic, what is just her belief versus what is actually happening, what are they talking about. So to go through it real quick, there's our first mention of an eclipse. We know that a series of natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, blah, 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 are going on. A storm came out of nowhere. An eclipse is coming. That, I will just let you know, that is very real. You've watched the trailers for this game. There is going to be an eclipse. And so that's like our timeline now. When Unuratu a second ago said, oh, we're out of time or whatever, we have to have the box and the dagger. We have to be ready for this sacrifice. And we haven't... I mean, the assumption has been that... I mean, what do we assume even sacrifice means here? Is it going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, blood must be spilled, and it turns out you can just do a tiny little cut? Or is Unuratu going to kill herself for this? Is Dr. Dominguez Amaru going to do that? And it has to, so we have to be at a place with these objects at the time of the eclipse. That's certainly their belief about it. But then there's this stuff of like the box will tempt you with your deep... I mean, is that real? I mean, what does that mean? What is it? The one true ring suddenly now? She's trained her whole life to resist it. But can she? And then what's all this stuff about Crimson Fire as well? It would be very easy to like hand wave that as just more sort of mumbo jumbo. It's probably not literal, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not going to give the game away as to what it is. But try to remember there's that specific line. If she can't do it, the Crimson Fire will hold her to her will. Because really, the climax of this game is around these things. So it's a really good idea to remember clearly what they said. I don't want to labour the point or whatever too much. But yeah, just try to remember those elements there. Anyway, so now Lara's asking, what's the Crimson Fire?
Is the Crimson Fire?
It is my destiny. It's connected to the sacrifice of Kukulkan. When the Crimson Fire smokes, seek your mirror. It's a powerful force of accountability. That's all I know.
So there you go. She doesn't even know.
Those creatures ever find their way in here?
Creatures?
They attack. In the caverns around Paititi, they were in conflict with Trinity. And at the altar where the box was taken, they came after me.
Do you mean the Yaaxil?
Yaaxil. They were tall and fast, hungry, almost desperate.
I would not call them creatures. They're more than that.
If I stand here, will she not move? I hope she doesn't. Okay, so, well, first, because I was wondering if maybe there was a relic. There is, look at that, we missed a relic. So, something really sneaky just happened in the story there. Why did Lara suddenly, we're talking about the Crimson Fire, and then Lara suddenly stopped to talk about the Yaaxil? That's a bit weird, isn't it? Well, try to remember that, and I'll try to remember it for later. And yeah, so before, when we were in those horror sequences, and I said, what are these horrible supernatural monsters that are attacking us? Oh, there's a twist with it in this game. She says I wouldn't call them creatures. They're more than that. Basically, the gist of it is they're people. They're not monsters. They're not supernatural. They are Paitians. Well, not necessarily exactly from Paititi, but in association. Oh, this is the same room, by the way. Oh my god, that just blew my mind. That's why there's a relic here and a document and stuff. Let's do this. So I don't know whether they're exactly meant to be that. Maybe there is something supernatural going on with them. But I think that alone, that story beat, again, it's one of those things. It's really cool, actually. I think it's very buried, but it's actually really daring and really exciting and interesting to do in this story. Which is, well, we'll continue this thought after we look at this mask.
Wife of Enti, daughter of Viracocha and mother of the founders of the Incan Empire. Likely another artifact extorted from the people of Paititi by the cult.
There you go. It's daring, right? Because essentially what they've got, right, is they've said, let's have these really animalistic, creepy, scary, horror-inducing creatures, but they're actually just a primitive civilization, a primitive society. You know, that actually, I think if that story isn't told in the right way, I think that's going to freak people out, and that's going to be offensive, and that's going to be, you know, X, Y, and Z. It's not going to be a good look. It's the kind of story I would never expect a big budget studio to touch with a 10-foot pole, particularly not from the west coast of America, right? Never. And yeah, it's actually, I think, is a really intriguing idea, and it's, you know, it's art in a way. And again, I think the game leaves it a little bit vague as to just how much these are just regular people. But it's a fun twist on people's expectations that Tomb Raider games have to have something supernatural. And it's a nice way of, like, causing people to stop and question, well, okay, maybe I flag up all these very alien experiences too quickly as something else, maybe. And if you actually look at the way they've all acted, there is nothing magic about them. They just seem to be competent hunters. And, you know, very into, like, body modification and kind of quite these primal things that maybe certain isolationist societies would be reminiscent of. I think it's really cool. And it is a fun twist. It's a fun twist to do that instead of just have, you know, another set of undead like the Oni or the deathless ones. But there is that, they have left the door creaked open, you know, maybe there is some kind of actual ritual or mystical spiritual transfiguration, should we say, that they've gone through.
What happened to the Yaaxil?
There are many legends. It was long ago, but Paititi owes much of his safety to them.
They protect it.
I don't know if that's their intention, but their actions have that effect.
They don't ever attack the city.
No. We have always lived in cooperation.
See,
like Amado might be planning a public sacrifice.
Of a rebel. We have to stop it.
No, not unprepared, and not at the expense of the box. The warrior who will bear this sacrifice will prefer death.
So who is it that will be sacrificed? Okay, so, back in the town now. I think, guys, I'm going to have to stop there, I'm afraid, because it has to be a short-length episode. It is Christmas Eve. I've got to get going. We are about to see... I really want to go to the next area. The game's going to have a complete U-turn, all right? Really? You probably think, oh, we're just building up to the climax now, but there is a U-turn, and as I mentioned in the previous part, it's, like, very cool, one of my favorite parts of the game, and it's to do with Lopez. But yeah, we're going to have to stop. I'm really sorry. We're going to have to stop. It's amazing, isn't it? All my videos used to be around the 45-minute to 50-minute mark, and now it feels so short, doesn't it? Did I get more rambly? Did my brain slow down and the pace of these are actually excruciatingly slow now? I don't know, man. Anyway, it's whizzed by for me. Guys, I hope you all have a lovely Christmas. I will see you hopefully tomorrow. But in reality, it's going to be right at the end of tomorrow, and it's, if it happens, and it will be late. It'll also be Final Fantasy, so whatever. But yeah, I'll see you on the next one. You know, things have slowed down the past few days anyway. You know, there hasn't been so much activity in Discord. There hasn't been so much activity in the comments and stuff. And I think it's because people are with their families at the moment. They're enjoying the holidays. Here's something to watch for anyone not doing too much this Christmas. Hopefully I've provided a little bit of something for you. A bit of company and a bit of chat. Some interesting stuff, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you in the next one very, very soon. Thanks very much for watching. All the lovely comments, I'll look forward to refreshing them when I get back home, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Take care now.